Hey guys, welcome back. We have a weekend energy update that we need to get into. As we're closing out this week, we've had some pretty intense and unusual astrology playing out. Next week also, interesting times. Things could just be a little bit strange. We're heading towards a very strong Uranian influence that's going to be coming in over this next couple of weeks. We are heading towards wild card season, you guys. However, this weekend, everything about this weekend is telling me that, like, if you can kick back, chill out, take a break, you should do it. Energy Friday and Saturday is really not super supportive of us like forcing ourselves to get the job done. If you can put the more difficult stuff off maybe until Sunday, normally I would not be advocating procrastination. However, it's probably just gonna go better. Like, Sunday is actually a much more productive and like getting things done oriented energy than what we have going on Friday and Saturday. Specifically Saturday, we have Venus and Mars coming into an exact water trine together. The moon will be transiting Sagittarius, opposing Jupiter and Gemini. This really is a good weekend, and especially Saturday, a good day to just kind of like do what makes you feel good, pursue some desires, satisfy like a taste for something, like have a good meal, a good conversation, engage in some, good socializing or something like that. It's probably just going to be rejuvenating on some level to like the heart and the soul after maybe what we've been through the past couple of weeks. Things have been very intense, very volatile, and we're just kind of being gifted this weekend with an opportunity to cut loose a little bit, maybe not push ourselves so hard, and engage in something that we enjoy. It's a very, very creative energy as well. So yeah, we're going to talk all about it in our report for today. We've got a lot going on as we close out this weekend, prepare to head into next week, which again is kind of like turning up the wattage on everything going on out there. And we'll talk a bit about that too. Let's get into our report of the day, put it all together, you guys, see where we're at, where we're going as we close out this week and head into next week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Friday, January 24th, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the weekend, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. In this video, we're going to talk about it all, everything that we've got going on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend, closing out this week, moving us into next week. We are in times of high strangeness, you guys. That's been sort of a recurring theme of these videos over these past several days, and that is not going anywhere. We are moving into wild card season coming up here in the energy of next week. We have the new moon in Aquarius that's coming in next, and we also have Uranus stationing direct coming up, and things are about to get I don't know, probably just a little bit crazy. We think, and I was saying this in one of my other videos, like, if you think you've seen the like just general weirdness, that like if you think things are weird now, just wait, because I don't think we've really seen much of anything yet. Okay, but in terms of this weekend, and like I mentioned in my intro, to me, we're getting sort of like a cosmic like rehab or like just like a cosmic break sort of in the energy this weekend. It's sort of like a cosmic vacation, I think we could say as well, with the Mars Venus exact trine in water signs, which is going to be one of the primary features of our report today that we will be talking about. That to me is just, especially since it's in water, it's just like chilling things out. This is a very harmonious flow of energy. It's going to be good for relationships, and Mars is it's our motivation, it's what we're after, it's our action, it's our behavior. Venus, of course, this is the feminine energy. This is what we like, this is what we desire, this is comfort, this is beauty, this is what feels good. Trines are facilitating. Water, this is our feelings and our emotions. When we've got Venus and Mars in exact aspect like this, especially facilitating trine, to me this is like Mars pursuing Venus, right? Like going after what we want, pursuing our desires in the water, like doing what makes us feel good. So I think that that's just going to be generally how people are like geared and oriented this weekend. When we add the additional note of the moon transiting through Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, this is the moon, right? This is also our emotions and our feelings. Sagittarius is an expansive energy, and it is also about sort of like wanting to enjoy life generally. And not only that, the moon will also be opposing Jupiter currently, who's in the sign of Gemini. People are going to really want to be verbalizing their feelings this weekend, and I do think actually that the way that this energetic setup is coming through this weekend, a lot of people are going to be like finding the confidence or the courage or just like the right opportunity to confess their feelings somehow, to shoot their shot, to speak their mind, to like empty the contents of their heart to someone, perhaps in a way that they haven't been able to until this point in time, or that's just been needing to be done, or they just like in this moment feel compelled to do. I think a lot of people are going to be sharing their feelings, and generally, actually, I think that a lot of this stuff is going to be relatively well received. Now, we do have the moon in Sagittarius also in a square to Saturn. This is also the possibility for rejection, but it's like we know that when we're going into it, and for whatever reason, like, seems like a good opportunity, might as well do it anyways. So that's interesting. Now, I also feel like this particular combination with the Venus-Mars trine exactly in the water signs, and also the moon in Sag opposite Jupiter, the ruler of the sign of Sagittarius and Gemini, I feel like there could be like a bit of kind of like a sense of magic in the air with this as well. We do still have a lot of that. I was, if you guys watched my last video, I was kind of like going on and on about how that's the planetary alignment that we had take place exactly on Thursday with Mars and Uranus and Mercury and the moon all being at the same degree of signs, which all aspect each other in 3 different ways. Like each one of those planets was aspecting 3 of the other planets exactly in 3 different ways. And they were just sort of like in this interplanetary like energy feed with one another that was like synthesizing Mercury in Capricorn, Mars in Cancer, Uranus in Taurus, and the moon in Scorpio, probably producing some very unusual or unexpected situations, outcomes, conversations, circumstances, things not going exactly as planned with this strong Uranian influence that we've had going on right now. But that was like a rare, I don't even, like, I keep like not even knowing what to call it. It was like a rare bundling of planetary energies, and they were all exact at 23 degrees yesterday. Now, as we move into Friday, we do still have this, lingering energy to an extent, but the moon has moved out of this configuration. The moon has entered Sagittarius, as I said. We do still have Mars and Mercury in an opposition, though it's no longer exact. We do still have Mercury trining Uranus, Mars sextiling Uranus, however, not exact. Okay, so that also felt like sort of like a magical energy to me, just because of like the rarity that you see something like that. It's not so rare to have 4 planets at the same degrees of varying signs, but it was just the fact that each of the planets was making an exact opposition to the other planet, and the trines and the sextiles that they were like feeding into each other as well. So I don't know, I just felt like there was something rare or unique or unusual about how obviously that configuration came together, and as a result of that, it may have the week, that day, Thursday, and this past week generally moving into that energy may have also represented itself through just being kind of a weird week where things are not playing out as they normally do, or just like more rare or unprecedented or unusual or unique things going on. There could have just been something of that nature prominent in our experience somehow this week, and that may still be a feature of the energy on Friday, but I feel like obviously not to the extent, because these planets are pulling away, but we do have kind of like with the Venus Mars coming in the water signs as well, and the Jupiter Moon opposition of Sagittarius, still like these notes of just a little bit of like sparkles on things. So I don't know, there could be kind of a hint of like a bit of magic in the air somehow. But it is going to probably be just a more pleasant and harmonious feel to things as we move Friday into Saturday, at least, than we maybe had the opportunity of experiencing as we have, you know, been working through this past couple of weeks with all of this very extreme Mars energy, Pluto energy. With Mars and Venus in exact trine, people are going to be acting and feeling most likely a bit more affectionate, sentimental, loving, perhaps. Passions could also be running quite high in this particular type of energy. And again, I think that people are going to be having the courage to confess their feelings or speak the contents of their heart somehow. More willing to take a risk, put themselves out there, and just like say what it is, say how they've been feeling, even though that possibility for rejection still exists as well. It's more like, I do think that there are, as I said a minute ago, there's a greater than average likelihood that there will be successful outcomes to these like spontaneous. They are probably more spontaneous too, because we do still have that Uranian influence. Mercury and Mars are both still in a trine and sextile to Uranus as we move through the weekend, while Mars and Venus are in that trine. So it's probably going to be like unexpected. Like somebody might unexpectedly admit that they've been like your secret admirer or something and ask you out. I don't know. It could be that type of thing. I wouldn't be very surprised about, even though you might be surprised about it, because that is the Uranian flavor on things, right? Uranus does bring shocks and surprises, and it's like not what we expected. So yeah, I don't know. That could be happening. But again, like the harmonious energy between masculine and feminine this weekend, it should just generally be doing good things for relationship dynamics. Also, extremely creative energy, right? Very, very fertile, very like primed for conception of all different types of various things. So if you know, if you've been wanting to start something, if there's been something kind of like spinning around in your mind, you've been looking for a good time to kind of like conceive that vision or that idea and translate it into reality somehow, this is good energy where you might want to get going on that as well. Any type of artistic or creative endeavors are going to be very highly supported here. And as we move through this next couple of this next several days as well, it is so interesting to me, you guys. We're about to have, I mean, you know that one of the major elements, and I'm going to talk about this more as we get towards the end of the report, but we have this ongoing right now, North Node Neptune conjunction in the sign of Pisces that is just drawing closer and closer, and we've been in this energy ever since the North Node entered the sign of Pisces. And Neptune right now, who's a ruler of the sign of Pisces, by the way, this is a very strong, pure Neptunian Piscean influence, is at 27, 28 degrees of the sign of Pisces right now. I think 27 degrees, but I'm always thinking in terms of the Sabian symbol placement, because you know we do that too. So I'm like 27 degrees, that's the actual degree placement, but for the Sabian symbols, we read the 28th. So that's where that 27, 28th came from, not to confuse anyone. Anyways, with the North Node, this is the destiny point, right? And we're talking about a destiny point in a direct path coming closer and closer and tighter with Neptune, Poseidon, the ruler of the seas. This energy has a lot to do with a profound spiritual connection, okay? There, on one hand, this entire next 18 months is about a spiritual lesson plan, okay? All of us in some way, in some capacity, are entering a phase of spiritual growth right now, which will play out over the next 18 months. Like, you know, I don't know what it is. For everybody, it's going to be different, but we all need to learn something in regards to our connection to a higher power. And we have this Venus influence coming into conjunction with this energy right now as well. Venus is transiting through the obviously later degrees of Pisces right now, and over this next week we'll also be joining the North Node and Neptune in the sign of Pisces. Now we need to think about, like, of course, all of the things that Venus can represent. And I'm not going to spend too much time talking about all that right now because it's going to be a feature of our energy for next week, and we will thoroughly flush it out then. But just briefly, when we're talking about Venus and Neptune and the North Node coming together, on one octave of things, like there has never been a better time for divine inspiration, like the mind's eye being able to translate like really high level, high octave creative energy into like physical beauty in the material plane. This is a supremely divinely inspired creative energy that we have coming through, like literally able to channel like divine vision through the human vessel and create with that very, very like faded, like high heart octave vision coming through when we've got this type of energy coming up next week. Now on the other side of that, I always say Neptune, it's very spiritual in nature. It has everything to do with like the invisible realms. But as a result of that, on the flip side of that, it's also about breaking things down, dissolving them, washing them away, relationship dynamics, financial commitments, investments, things along those lines. And like I said, we're going to be talking so much more about this in the energy of next week, but there are going to definitely be faded endings having to do with any, relationships or commitments, investments, stuff like that have like run their course, or are just no longer supportive of our process of growth and creativity at this time. It's like they're for all of us in some way, like there's some, we're talking about a faded time of spiritual growth, but it has to do with the heart, with our creative potential, with what we value, also what we find worth in, what we find to be beautiful, kind of like leveling up, octaving up. Like I think that this energy in a way could kind of refine the collective interpretation also of, I don't know, like art, music, beauty. Like there could honestly be some shift in artistry generally, and like what the public gravitates to. I guess I would say that we recognize in the future took place around this period of time. So it could have that impact, but it is also going to have to do with, as I mentioned, like things coming to an end. Like if there have been relationships like holding on and lingering on, or just like situations, material situations also that have been like on the way out, but you haven't been able to figure out how to get out of exactly, or they just haven't been letting go, or you haven't been able to let go. Coming up here, you guys, over this next week or two, I would be willing to wager that that's probably going to tie itself up for you. And it's probably going to be something that just kind of like organically happens with less effort on your part, aside from the surrender perhaps that is necessary, that is like a necessary part of that unfolding process. So there's that element and aspect of the way that this energy is functioning. But I also think, and before we get there, it's interesting because like that was kind of a glimpse into the future, as I said, where we're going next week when Venus joins the North Node and Neptune in their conjunction right now in the sign of Pisces. But before we get there, it's like, again, like we have like this last chance at like rehab or like fixing things or solving the problem. Like universe is literally giving us the perfect opportunity to fix what's been broken before we just need to let it go. Okay. And I do think that that is another thing that the energy this weekend is representing with this trine that we have going on between Venus and Mars while the moon opposes Jupiter. Now, one of the main reasons I'm saying that is because, or I'm seeing that like element come through in this energy, is because both Mars and Jupiter are retrograde right now. Like to me, this is talking about the past. Like both Mars and Jupiter in the retrograde processes, I feel like have to do with like us figuring out how to solve problems that have been keeping us from moving forward in some type of way. I mean, Jupiter retrograding through the sign of Gemini, like this could be like actually learning the fallacy of our own ways, or like where we've gone wrong, or where we've been just like unaware of how to do things in the way that is going to lead to our greatest success. Like we could be learning skills or learning tools that we need to figure out how to make things work better for ourselves somehow, or how to solve some type of problem that has been keeping us from growing and expanding, the Jupiterian influence. And with Mars retrograding in the sign of Cancer as well, like this could be like insecurities that have been keeping us from moving forward somehow. This could be things that we've done wrong. This could be mistakes that we need to sort of like go back and fix in terms of like how we've been using our energy. Mars is, of course, it's our energy, it's our action, it's our behavior, it's our willpower, it's our motivation to move forward and to get things done. It's the energy that we put into things to sort of like propel our life forward. And when Mars is retrograde, sometimes I feel like that has to do with, and especially in the sign of Cancer, right? Like what's been going on inside of us that, and like in regards to our emotions and our feelings, that perhaps has been keeping us in like a self-sabotaging loop somehow, or like what choices or decisions, like what did we do, how did we do things in the past that instead of getting to where we wanted to go actually like took us on maybe a course that wasn't so aligned with what we had been trying to create for ourselves. It like gives us this opportunity to correct mistakes that may have been made along our path. So with Jupiter and Mars both retrograde, both together, both being aspected, one by the moon and one by Venus exactly, to me this is making me think, maybe we are finally like solving some old problems, figuring something out, learning something, gaining a piece of insight, or just like having that conversation as well. Like this could also be long repressed feelings or a conversation that's needed to be had for a long period of time, and like because we haven't had that conversation, things haven't been able to move forward. There's been relationship conflict, or there's just been a lack of harmony in the relationship somehow. But because of whatever goes on this weekend, and maybe we find an opportunity to really like say what's on our mind and what's in our heart, really be honest with our emotions and our feelings about something, this could have been like the missing piece that solves the problem, that enables things to continue to proceed in a way that facilitates growth rather than restriction. Again, like this is all about, does it support and facilitate authentic growth? And as we're moving forth into Aquarius season right now with Pluto and Aquarius, Uranus, Taurus, like all of this, or Uranus about to station direct in Taurus, everything right now, the whole cosmic push is removing blockages to growth, essentially, if we boil it down to its most like simplistic fundamental levels. So whether it's a relationship, whether it's a mindset, whether it's like subconscious programming, whether it's an image, whether it's like our like a value system, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a lifestyle or a habit or routine, it doesn't matter what it is. If it is currently something that is functioning as a blockage to growth in alignment with where universe would have us be right now, that is it's not going to continue to persist through this next couple of weeks. So you will get a really good idea, you guys, about what's been holding you back by what it is that either leaves your life now and over this next couple of weeks, or even over this past couple of weeks as well. What leaves your life, or what you decide that like you are going to personally change. And that's another element of this I've been talking about as well now with the South Node in the sign of Virgo. This is karmic release in the sign that has to do with like our daily habits and our routines and like how we do life generally, diet, nutrition, lifestyle. A lot of people over this next year and a half, aside from the spiritual growth, and I mean, it's not really aside from the spiritual growth, it's really like cause and effect, one and the other, two sides of the same coin. But there's people are going to be spontaneously just like switching things up, changing habits, changing routines, changing schedules. A lot of it is going to have to do probably with some, I don't know, like spiritual inclination, or just like like a spontaneous, you know, people are going to be receiving like divine insights about things, like spiritual inspirations about things without realizing that that's what's happening. You know what I mean? A lot of people are going to get like hit with the spiritual growth in a way that they're not conscious that that's what it is, but nonetheless, they're feeling motivated or just like compelled to make these choices. Okay, so a lot of people are going to be spiritually guided without the conscious recognition that that's what's going on, but it's going to have the same impact of, you know, just shifting up the way that we are doing the day to day. And these changes also are going to be in alignment with ways that we can promote our own, you know, health, our own well-being, and like our own personal growth on one level or another, right? In alignment with that spiritual calling, that divine vision that is requiring us to make these improvements as we move forward as well. Also, let's not forget, you guys, we are transitioning into an age of Aquarius currently. The push over the next 20 years on an energetic level, any way you spin it, any way you slice it, like it's a path towards self-actualization. Some people are going to, you know, get there very quickly and in flying colors and have literally been born for this period of time and are going to sort of like be the origin of the snowball that then gets bigger and bigger and bigger as this energy expands out collectively. And some people, you know, the progress is going to be barely notable, but we all have like different lesson plans and any given, you know, life right now. And we really also, as we move through this period of time, need to not compare like where we're at to, you know, the progress of other people, and really try not to be judgmental of other people, and really especially not try to be controlling of other people as well. Like the wake up, like everybody's going to wake up to, you know, this road to self-actualization, aligning with the, you know, higher potential, activating the destiny, when their personal individual like cosmic alarm clock goes off. Okay, and literally like there is nothing that we can do to shorten or facilitate that process other than lead by our own example. And that is also a lot of the wisdom associated with this water bear and Aquarius energy that we are moving into right now as well. So I think this is a good weekend, you guys, for solving some old problems that have been lingering in relationships. Again, like getting things back on track where they can get back on track. If it is a divine union, if it is a divine alignment, like if that is, if these are two things that are supposed to be together, solutions are going to come through this weekend that help to like make that very well known. And if, you know, if it's not, if it's in any way a hindrance or blockage to growth in alignment with that path universe wants us walking, it may clear itself up come next week. Now, this could be a little bit, I'd say, of a kind of like a lazy, indulgent weekend. Not in a bad way, though. As I was saying at the beginning, I do think that taking the chill pill, like kicking your feet up, relaxing, enjoying some pleasant company, food, entertainment, shopping, pampering, and just not pushing ourselves too hard. I think it's like food for the soul. Like this is one of those type of weekends, you know what I mean? As I have indicated, this square between the moon and Saturn on Saturday could present a bit of some internalized conflict in that regard. We could feel kind of like guilty about it, or it could be kind of weighing on us, or we could be kind of like a little bit like self-critical or just judgmental of what we're not doing. But as I also said earlier, on Sunday, the moon's going to enter Capricorn. Capricorn is about getting down to business. It's the goat, the mountain goat, right? This is about like, you know, putting in a little bit of effort, productivity, hard work, focus on the goal. We're just going to be more oriented and geared in that regard. So as a result, our efforts are going to be more successful on Sunday if there's stuff that you just like need to get done. You know, as I mentioned, I think in my intro, I am not one that is an advocate at really any time for procrastination. But if you're gonna do it, like, this is the weekend to do it, because that energy on Saturday really does just want us to like be able to relax and enjoy life for the day. Like, it's about feeling good with the water sign trine happening between Mars and Venus, and also the moon feelings as well opposite Jupiter. This is expansive feelings, deep conversations as well. Like, people could be having some just very deep, meaningful, heartfelt conversations. Would not be surprised about that. As I said, when we exit the energy of this weekend, we are getting right back into right back on that ride, right back on that roller coaster. It is curveball energy that we are heading into right here, right coming up next. So taking it easy this weekend. Of course, not taking things to excess. That's always a bit of, you know, something that we need to look out for when we've got a Jupiterian influence combined with a Venus influence. You don't want to go too far overboard with things, but give yourself a little bit of what you need this weekend, and it's going to be for the better. I do think, even if it's just like, you know, painting a picture or having a lovely conversation or a delicious meal or something like that. That's what we're talking about here. One last note, spiritual healing, you guys. This is also a very strong function of the way that the energy is coming through right now. I have been advocating for starting some type of like daily spiritual practice, even if it's just over the course of the next 18 months while the North Node goes through the sign of Pisces, and we are, you know, being called to expand our spiritual connection somehow. This may be another good place to put your energy or focus this weekend with this water sign trine going on, really like cultivating and nurturing your spiritual connection, relationship also, pursuing a more expansive relationship to the divine somehow. This is also very energetically supported as we move throughout the course of the weekend. The spiritual presence, you guys, now and over this next couple of weeks, extremely tangible for us. It's really honestly like a merging of the spirit world and the physical world. While we have the Neptune and the North Node coming into the conjunction in the sign of Pisces. The invisible reality is honestly like just as powerful as the physical reality when we've got this type of an alignment going on. And listen to this, you guys. The position of Venus and the exact trine to Mars on Saturday, she's at 23 degrees of Pisces in terms of the Sabian symbol placement. That Sabian symbol is literally a materializing medium giving a seance, okay? So we're talking about specifically a period of time now and moving forward over this next couple of days as Venus comes into a tighter conjunction with the North Node and Neptune in the sign of Pisces being trined by Mars right now, pursuing the spirit. And Venus's relationships and connection, right? It's the other. In the sign of Pisces, this is the spiritual connection, relationship to a higher power, union with the divine, okay? So, and with her at that degree, also the materializing medium giving a seance, like, it is very possible right now to receive divine assistance through our connection and through expanding our connection, like, to God, spirit, universe, higher power right now. Like, it is, that's what I'm saying, like, develop your ability to communicate with, to, you know, listen to, and know how to respond in accordance with the universe, however that is for you. And also, I think that people are probably, like, it's probably going to be more perceptible to people. Like, even people that don't have a strong spiritual connection or that don't have like a strong interaction with universal forces or, you know, with God or with the higher power, I think that they're probably just going to be like noticing things or like having strange experiences. Like, this reminds me of the type of scenario where, you know, people who don't follow this type of thing at all or are not spiritually inclined at all are like all of a sudden seeing 1111 everywhere, like everywhere they look, and they're just like, what's going on, you know? Like, why do I keep seeing these numbers? And even that though functions as like the little, like the little gap in reality that lets that little bit of light through that can make people start to look, you know what I mean? Start to like look through the cracks and perceive that there might be actually something more beyond what it is that we're seeing like right there solid in front of our face. So it could also be that type of thing where people are, you know, unable to avoid the efforts of universe to make its presence known in their lives. So I don't know, you guys. We also have the North Node right now at 29 degrees of the sign of Pisces. That Sabian symbol is light breaking into many colors as it passes through a prism. We have the South Node at 29 Virgo. That Sabian symbol is a man gaining secret knowledge from an ancient scroll he is reading. And we have Mars at 23 Cancer and the exact trine to Venus. That Sabian symbol is the meeting of a study group or a literary society. Again, like cultivating a greater understanding of the relationship or our relationship to these higher spiritual planes of reality, seeing normally hidden layers or dimensions or spectrums of something through like looking at something a certain way, like our perception shifting somehow that like opens things up and like or exposes like whole new dimensions or layers of something to us, remembering or gaining awareness of lost or hidden or forgotten spiritual truths of the ages. This is it, you guys. Like, this is the vibe, okay? I think as we move through the weekend and into next week, again, like, could be, like, deep conversations, unavoidable, like, spiritual phenomenon, I guess we could say. That'd probably be a better way to describe it. Maybe just, like, spiritual phenomenon that is happening in a beyond average way. I would say probably now and as we move through this Aquarius season. So that's what we're looking at, you guys, in terms of the astrology. Somebody asked me in one of my comments to do a weather report as well, and I don't know about the weather, but I would say based on this astrology, we can expect greater than average levels of precipitation, most likely coming through somehow as we move through the weekend. Lots of moisture, perhaps, with the Venus-Mars trine in water signs, and probably maybe some bizarre or unusual weather patterns unfolding. Maybe ice, snow, moisture where it's like usually not. We could see perhaps some like weather or record-breaking weather or storms going on. Remember, we have Pluto at an unexpected thunderstorm, and Uranus is all in the mix right now, which is talking about like things not being average, things not being normal. And with that water sign trine that creates Venus and Mars together out there, yeah, I would say that from an energetic perspective, I would not be surprised if there are just above average levels of precipitation and moisture going on, and perhaps in ways that are unusual or that are just like in places that are unusual or that are not standard. So I don't know, maybe it's not like record-breaking stuff, who knows, we'll see. The whole month of like this whole upcoming time could be like weird weather going on as well. So that's my energy report, and that's my weather forecast also based on what we've got going on energetically out there. Let's get a synchronicity card now. God, Spirit, Universe, we need one more bit of information. What should we keep in mind? What should we tell ourselves as we move through the weekend? What do we need to know? What should we remember? We have a card. It says, root out negativity, you guys. And with the Venus, Mars trine and like the Jupiter moon, like I was saying, getting to the root of maybe an old problem, solving perhaps lingering problems with new information or ideas or solutions, speaking your mind about something. It could be the way to go. Anyways, root out negativity. Root out, pull down, destroy, Jeremiah 1:10. You must root out, pull down, and destroy all of your negative attitudes, false beliefs, erroneous opinions, and ill will of every kind. You must completely alter the way you do things in your home and business. Do everything from a standpoint of the law of love and divine harmony. You will experience an enormous change in all phases of your life. You will meet all problems with faith in God, and you will overcome. So that's where we're at, you guys. Root out negativity as we move through this weekend. And I think that we are going to be letting go of a lot of that stuff as we move into the energy of next week. things are probably going to get crazy, but we are going to find ourselves in a place where we have the ability to, I don't know, let go of some things. And with Venus, Neptune in the North Node, that is also like this high heart, divine harmony energy that's coming through. Like there literally could be some type of spiritual healing that hits us on a heart level as a part of whatever this craziness is that goes on next week. But anyways, we'll talk about that next week. I'm gonna stop talking for now. I hope you guys like the video. Root out negativity is our guidance for the weekend. And if you did like it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would enjoy this type of astrology as well. Leave me comments, you guys. I'm so grateful for your presence on my channel. I truly value you guys. I really appreciate you being here, narrating the shift of the ages with me. I'm so glad that I have you guys to talk to about all of this stuff too. And yeah, so share it with your friends if you think they would also like this type of astrology content, and leave me comments down below if you're having experiences that are a reflection of what I'm talking about in these videos. Also, if you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I post those images. Also, if you're into Mayan astrology and you want to do the study of the day signs with me, I've been posting shorts each day with the Mayan calendar astrology and like how that all comes together. And just, you know, as we are moving through time now, you can find that in the shorts section of my channel if you're into it. And come back with me, you guys, on Monday. We've got, as I mentioned, lots of big astrology, new moon in Aquarius coming up. Uranus is going to station direct. Yeah, so we'll talk about that next week. I will see you then, you guys. Have a really beautiful weekend. And until then, bye.